The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
What have the New York Jets coaches done differently as the Jets have won 3 of their last 5 games? Have they done anything differently? We will ask Jets insider Robby Sabo that very question. It's the Jake Asman Show, live on a Tuesday. Let's hit it and get it started.
Guys, we always say this, and it's always going to be pretty. I got one game ball.
Let's keep it going next week.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. As bad as the Jets are, at least the Giants are just as bad, if not worse. What a debacle that was on Monday Night Football. If you are in the card today or you're looking for some entertainment from 1 to 3, tune into ESPN New York. I'm filling in for Michael K on the station. You can watch it on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Listen on 880 a.m. or download the ESPN New York app, which is why today's show is starting an hour earlier than normal. And we say hello to our guy, Robby Sabo, who's still kind enough to join us in his weekly Tuesday spot. Mr. Sabo, how we feeling after a Giant loss last night, but a Jet win over the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday at MetLife?
I mean, you know, the $500 you're paying me to hop on at 9 a.m. helps. But you know, other than that, you know, solid, you know, normal stuff.
Jets win, and I think the immediate takeaway from some is draft positioning, the tank, all that. Let's get that out of the way. Where do you stand on the tankathon conversation?
I caught Joe yesterday with you a little bit, and it's early, guys. There's so many games left. It's maddening. You go crazy if you think about it and worry about it. Honestly, at this point. The coaching, the coaching at an individual level, positions, trying to discover what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. And Glenn says it outwardly. They're trying to establish a what's the common phrase he uses? Not a culture, but whatever, you know, the message he's trying to send. It is trying to establish something that is by far the more important item than tanking and where you're going to pick. It's not even close. And I think if you're worried about positioning right now, especially in week 13, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're making yourself more miserable than you have to be.
I think ultimately you said it best. There's just so many games left, man. Like the idea that the Jets are the only team that's going to win, that's picking in the top 10 right now, the rest of the way is just not true. Here's your look through week 13 now. At the NFL draft order, the Jets right now would currently pick 7. It is interesting, though, right? You know, we talk about the Jets pick specifically. The pick to really follow is the Indianapolis Colts pick, because if they keep losing, all of a sudden that pick, which right now is pick 23 that the Jets own, you know, they fall out of the playoff spot. That pick could be, you know, as low as pick 18 for the Jets if the Colts were to miss the playoffs. And right now, you look at their schedule and the fact they do play the Houston Texans another time. They play the Jaguars twice, including this upcoming week. Not a lock that the Colts make the playoffs. So that to me is actually, at this point, more intriguing than where even the Jets end up picking. I want to see what happens with the Colts.
Yeah, listen, crazy things happen in this league. You know, the old great Jerry Glanville, NFL Rocks, for people who remember that video, NFL Films produced in the early 90s. The most common thing a coach said on the video is, he was talking to a ref. He was upset with him. He's like, listen, you know what the NFL stands for? Not for long. You know, I'll be bagging groceries if you keep calling the game like this. So the Colts' fortunes have flipped. So many things could happen. And that just goes to the point. Why worry about it now? But, I get it. Why do fans get so wrapped up? You have to have something in the moment. You have to. And the fact that the Jets are not going to make the playoffs, this season is a wash. The next best thing to hold on to, there's no quarterback. There's no young quarterback on the team. So the next best thing to hold on to is that quarterback, the draft positioning. And it's Simpson or it's Mendoza or maybe Dante Moore. So I get it. From that perspective, that is the thing to hold on to and squeeze tightly. But you got to let it play out in time. It's way too early to worry about it.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We're talking with Robby Sabo in his weekly spot. For those curious, Tuesday is raffle day, but since we're having a shorter show than normal, we'll do it on our second show today, which means this is your last show to be able to enter the Asmaniac raffle. It's a signed Darrelle Revis jersey as our top prize this afternoon. Up for grabs, a signed LaDainian Tomlinson jersey, a signed CJ Mosley helmet. And if you enter today, we'll do a daily raffle at the end of the show. We have a signed we have a Joe Namath jersey, Joe Klecko jersey, Curtis Martin jersey, Wayne Kravett jersey, Darrelle Revis jersey, Nick Mangold, and Keyshawn Johnson jerseys that you could choose from should you win our daily raffle prize at the end of this morning's stream. Let's talk about the coaching, Robby. The Jets started 0-7. They were statistically off to the worst start in franchise history in a lot of categories. First 5 weeks, the defense was on pace to allow more points than any other Jets team ever. They've won 3 of their last 5 games. Give me your thoughts on the improvement that you have seen, or what do you specifically attribute the Jets winning some games here of late? Give us what you're seeing on film, what you're noticing being at some of these games. Break down the improvement we're seeing and what actually matters from some of these games that the Jets have been able to win.
I think the most important thing is that it's not necessarily all about and always about the brand names, like a Sauce, like a Quinnen. A defense could be much better if all 11 guys do their job and work together and make sure they don't let the guy down next to them, as opposed to 11 All-Stars or 11 Pro Bowlers. That's kind of what we're seeing defensively. And granted, listen, their 3 wins have come where in games where their special teams have really, moved the needle for them.
Which has been a strength all year, if you think about it.
Huge strength, and it's a huge positive. And I have no problem. I actually prefer and I love the fact that the special teams is such an important thing for Glenn. It's really a good thing, no matter what phase of football it is, no matter what era it is. But it gets tricky once you get the quarterback and once you have to unleash the offense. There's got to be certain realities Glenn has to live in. That's the only caveat. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I think that's really important. And they also played non-elite quarterbacks in the 3 wins. So, that's one thing. We talked about it. I think it was before the Cincy game. And we mentioned the quarterback thing. So that's there. But the individual coaching, how about the first drive? Atlanta had a clear game plan. Try to run off the right side a little bit. The first couple of runs were solid. I think one went to the left actually early. But that 2nd and 6 on the jet motion, got it to 3rd and 1. The A.Z. Thomas tackle for loss, that is a product of not just loving A.Z. for what he can do. It's a product of the messaging from Glenn and Wilkes to A.Z. in terms of how to fit into the defense, meaning Jermaine is the edge on that side, and they asked him to crash because it was a 3rd and 1. The O-line had tight splits. It looked like a tush-push situation with Franks under center. So Jermaine felt the freedom that he could crash a little bit and not have to stay responsible out there because he knew AZ was behind him. And everything works together in that route. And the fact that these young kids are fitting the vision in terms of what Glenn wants to do, as opposed to, older vets who are more superstar laden, I think is the big thing to keep an eye on right now.
It's interesting. The defense has played better since Sauce and Quinnen were dealt. They don't have the turnovers we're still looking for, but I have noticed improvement. But I don't know if it's enough for a guy like Wilkes to necessarily keep his job. But they have been better, and I do think Glenn should get credit for that because, again, they're still playing hard for him. There's still a buy-in. I think we're seeing a much better effort collectively from that side of the ball. The turnover thing is just inexplicable, but to me, the defense has been better. I also want to acknowledge, they are doing it against backup quarterbacks. Like their 3 wins this year
That's
have
the key.
been against backup QBs.
That's the key. And listen, there's ugly plays all over the place. The screen, the receiver screen that went for a touchdown. I'm going to break it down after the show. It's as ugly as it gets. I forgot who it was, but he missed the first tackle. All you have to do there is not miss and not fall. In other words, take the angle, understand where your help is, and slow down the guy with the ball. And if you slow him down, it's 3rd and goal. You let your guys rally. The only thing you can't do is try to be a hero and miss the tackle. And that's what happens. And then the guy walks in because you didn't take away time and space. So it's not all great. They're young. They're trying to figure it out. And all year, I still have a lot of questions about Glenn in terms of this modern NFL and having that innate skill in terms of game management and knowing what to do and communicating and really letting his offense lead the charge in the short passing area, letting defense and special teams complement it. But the individual coaching is there. There's a lot of improvement. There really is. And there's still guys on the defense who aren't exactly getting it on every play. Like the AZ play, for example. The play before, where was the jet motion? It was a fake zone action to the left. They blitzed Sherwood. Sherwood came down the A gap. Quincy was on his toes, went B or C gap. That is, you look at that. Some fans will look at that and say, man, Sherwood and Quincy were faked out. No, they did their job. They went with the zone action because that is their job, because they know and they trust that the 3 or 4 guys on the other side, on the backside, if they happen to give it on the jet motion instead of the zone rush to the left, would be there. So that's the thing I'm seeing a little bit more incrementally each week. Everyone is trying to do their singular job as opposed to being a hero.
It just feels like you look at the collectiveness of like the defense, and to your point, the do your job aspect. I was watching the breakdown that you posted on JetX and on your X account about that AZ Thomas play. It feels like there has been less hero ball, and maybe guys are buying in more to the system. But I still have doubts on Wilkes. I feel like you watch other teams around the league, they're way more creative. Now, I also have to acknowledge, they're playing some guys that you're like, who, what? And there's clearly a talent void in certain areas. There's still concerns with Sherwood and Quincy and some of the other linebackers that are playing right now. I get that. But I don't know. Like, they've been better defensively, but the turnover thing, I can't just excuse that. I still think if Aaron Glenn wants to take another step forward going into next year beyond figuring out quarterback, which we'll talk about, I still think Steve Wilkes shouldn't necessarily be brought back. I think that's got to be something that Glenn has to make a swift decision on this offseason.
100% fair. 100% fair. It's I'm right there with you all year. And it started out ugly. It was disjointed, and you didn't see any one real vision, any one real togetherness, even any type of effort in terms of disguising. There was nothing. And I think Tampa week 3, I think it was week 3 with Tyrod.
Yep.
Finally started to cultivate something, even though, 3 or 4 guys weren't really buying in totally. It started the process. And I think that is absolutely fair in terms of Wilkes and his future and what Glenn has to do. But I'll say this. I think it's small potatoes compared to the other side of the ball. And I'm not putting Engstrand in that same class. I think I'm higher on Engstrand than you are right now. But that is the real meat and potato. That's really what's going to drive potential success for Glenn, whether or not this offensive coaching staff has the goods and can deliver with a quarterback, and whether or not Glenn can be the proper CEO to oversee that. That's the biggest thing for me still.
Comments, questions, super chats, they will cut the line. Robby Sabo is with us in his weekly spot. It is raffle day, end of our show this afternoon. We are giving away the following prizes: signed Mosley helmet, signed LaDainian Tomlinson jersey, and a signed Darrelle Revis jersey. Mike Duramo just entered today's raffle. He gifted 5 channel memberships to the community.
Hello? You play to win the game.
If you got a membership from Mike, make sure you say, thanks, Mike. I want to be like Mike. Abdul Jacob, NYJ Dave, Friday Jones, Michael Nero, and Please Someone Do Something, all receiving a membership. Will raffle away a Jets jersey at the end of today's program as well. So we will still give people a daily prize, and we'll give you one last chance to enter the weekly raffle coming up. Shout out to David Mangani, who also became a channel member before the show started, so he earned a raffle ticket. Appreciate you supporting the show.
Is that the Bears running back, Mangani?
I think it's a similar name. Yeah. Pride of Rutgers.
That's right.
Let's see. This one is from one Rem fan. Robby McDonald, probably too small for a Glenn defensive end, given his freak athleticism. Could we stand him up and convert him to linebacker? ?
Probably not. He's linebacker. See, it's weird. You know what? That's a good point in terms of what I'm going to bring up next. The AZ Thomas tackle for loss. There's a lot more to that play than just AZ. They deployed an old school 3-4. We could call it a bear front based on just the D tackle being covering up the nose and the nose tackle covering up the center and the 2 D tackles where they were. Old school 3-4. Phillips playing low man wins. The 2 D tackles crashing. So that is the only scenario in which McDonald would be a stand-up guy in a 3-4. So I doubt it. In linebacker in the NFL, you kind of look at it. It's the East-West second level guys, and McDonald will never be a second level guy. Now, when you watch the Jets, I mentioned the 3-4 because they're sprinkling in some of that, and you see Jermaine and McDonald stand up already. So there really isn't much difference. I think with McDonald, it comes down to he's a specialist. You really don't want him in there against base, against 21-12 personnel, run pass on every play. And unfortunately, they don't have anybody else. That's the big issue.
Again, I think when you look at McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, I think they should be on the team next year. But I do think just edge in general is a huge need. Forget just trying to get guys that can make it possible so Clemens doesn't have to play as much as he does. But I've been disappointed with McDonald overall this year. I expected a bigger season, especially the way Glenn hyped him up and talked about him and was basically condescending to Connor Hughes when he asked about McDonald during that one training camp.
Was that a Hughes question? I always forgot who asked that question.
Yeah. The question about McDonald's bull rush move, and then Glenn was like, "It's coaching, man. It's coaching." Yeah. Crazy. But look, I think McDonald still has shown you he has an ability to get after the quarterback. I'd like to see him here next year with Jermaine, another year removed from the Achilles. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have still been very satisfied with Jermaine's season because you're watching the All-22. You're seeing him do a lot of things on tape that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. But I think edge is still another need to continue to kind of add to that room. They need more depth at that position for sure.
You nailed it. You better believe it. Like, I love what Jermaine's doing this year. I don't think he's 100% with the Achilles, but he is part of the solution. He's not part of the problem. He is part of the solution in terms of, you could see, it's really easy to see which guy is really putting the effort to do the right thing, no matter what his individual wants are. And especially at the NFL level, it's there. It's at every level of football, but Jermaine does that. And the fact that he's been so effective against the run, doing his job in certain situations, has really impressed me this year. But you're right. They need a lot of help. They really do.
We're talking about, coaching being something that has improved and some of the things we're noticing. Another guy I want your thoughts on, Brandon Stephens, as we talk about guys on this defense. I think you go into the offseason feeling pretty good about your corners with Stephens on one side. I think Azareye'h Thomas is going to be next year's outside starting corner. I know Brownlee missed the game Sunday against Atlanta, but I think he has been a guy that has shown you what he could do in the nickel. He's a good football player. I like the way he plays intensity-wise. I like the way he tackles. But again, Stephens, who got off to such a bad start, he's been really good this season. He has stabilized things. What have you seen from him? Because I think he's been someone that has been fun to watch, kind of go through it early with the fans and rightfully be criticized for poor play. But now, we barely talk about him because he's not getting thrown at. And when he is thrown at, he's there making plays, and he's been a really good tackler. I like what we've seen from Brandon Stephens of late.
Agreed. Listen, there's fluctuation depending on the caliber of quarterback. And that's with every DB in this league. There's no question. And no matter how good you are, you're going to give stuff up. But it goes back to what I said. Stephens is part of the solution, not the problem. And Glenn knows that. And the more he bought in, and you saw it each week, the more he bought into what they wanted him to do to play specifically in this defense, the better he got. And when you look at AZ, him, Brownlee, Malachi back there, they're doing whatever they're doing this year. They're doing it with really, really poor QB pressure in my mind. And I don't even care about the stats because it's just not hitting home, and it's just not making the opposing quarterback uncomfortable enough. So whatever they're doing right now, I think is going to be increased if the pressure ever gets to an average state.
Here's a good stat on Stevens from Glenn Naughton, who tweeted this yesterday. He allowed 60 yards in week 1, but since then he's held receivers under 40 yards in all but one other game. He allowed 60 versus Dallas, on pace to allow 458 receiving yards on the season after he gave up over 900 last year. So give Glenn credit because obviously former Pro Bowl corner, stuck his neck out to sign this guy in free agency. We all questioned it at the time. It looked like a terrible signing a couple games in, and he's been a lot better. So they get credit for that, and give credit to Stevens for, not letting, the criticism of playing in New York and all that comes with that turn him into the next Tremaine Johnson. He settled down. And him and Azareye'h Thomas with Brownlee, I mean, they rebuilt their corner room on the fly this year, and I think you feel pretty good about it going into the offseason. They need to fix safety, linebacker, depth on the defensive edge, but I feel a lot better than I certainly did a couple weeks ago about these starting corners for the Jets going forward.
Agreed, and that's what's more amazing about that stat is we remember the Bengals game, that track meet. I don't know how any cornerback who's playing every play doesn't give up more than 40 yards in that game. So it's even more impressive. He's what Glenn and Wilkes are looking for are guys who are buying in and will do their job. And they have a long way to go, but there are several guys who are filling that void. And again, on the AZ, not the AZ tackle for loss, but the play before, the Jet sweep that went for 5 and made it a 3rd and 1. AZ Thomas is a cornerback. He started at the top because there was a stack to receivers in 12 personnel. When the jet motion came, Tony Adams came up and AZ rotated to the back single high safety. He was effectively playing single high safety as a cornerback. So think about that. That's cornerbacks and DBs rotating on the fly and interchanging things. And you could do that because Tony Adams could play man coverage. He struggles in some areas, but could play man coverage pretty well. And that's a nice little wrinkle to think about too, that they have confidence in a rookie cornerback to rotate high and play single high safety.
We're going to get to the offense. We spent a lot of time discussing the defense to start coaching improvements that we have seen and what's real, what's not with Robby Sabo joining us here. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. If you bet the Giants last night, that's my bad. They've been in all these games.
Did you say? What did you say?
Well, I said the Giants, I think, could cover 7.5 points. I looked at it like they're playing the Pats, who have been in a lot of close games despite their record. When Dart has played this year, they've only been blown out once. With Winston, they were in both games against Green Bay and the Lions. So silly me for thinking the Pats would allow the Giants to hang around. And then the Giants special teams was like, you bet on us? Watch this. I have never seen a worse half of special teams than what the Giants special teams unit did last night. Forget just the Charlie Brown looking missed field goal by Younghoe Koo.
That was
like they allowed a punt return for a touchdown. They allowed a long kickoff. They were just horrific in all aspects last night.
Think about the contrast between Banjo, the other New York special teams unit, and the Giants. It's startling.
Chris Banjo is the best coach on the Jet staff.
He is, and man, I wish it was 1995 with that weapon because I think it would make more of a difference. Still, you hold on to him and you keep going forward. It's a great weapon. McNamara, the best point I heard Beningo say in a long time was raving about the hang time McNamara had on that last punt. The offense put them in such a rough spot in that game to get backed up. I think it was first down with the penalty. And you thought they were going to start at midfield. There's no way around it. But McNamara, instead of booming it, he made sure the hang time was the critical part of it. And it was one of the best punts I've seen in a long time to get them started, at a 35 or 38, whatever it was. Hell of a job.
It is a legit special teams unit from Falk to McNamara to the coverage on punts and kickoffs. Stiggers is one of the best gunners in the league, you could certainly say. Not to mention what they're getting on returns. Isaiah Williams went from like a guy who looked like he was running with like weights around his ankles to a guy who like every time he touches the ball, he's making plays. They don't want to kick it to Kane, so you kick it to Isaiah Williams, and he kills you seemingly every time. He had a huge return, couple returns in all the Jets wins this year. He's had a big part of them in them. It's really is amazing. Like I wish this team had a better defense and offense because the special teams is as good as any in the league right now.
Yes, that brings me to another thought here. You know, all this what they're teaching individually, defensively, offensively. Hayden has done a great job at O-line. Think about this. For the longest time, the Jets O-line has been trash. Everyone harps on O-line, and I agree with it. They're the only team to have the consistent unit all year, and they're still terribly offensively. It's amazing. Like the torture for Jets fans is outrageous. But if you want to dream the ultimate dream, and this is Beningo again yesterday, talking about how he's raving about the trades, love the trades. This is how good teams are made. You know, Herschel Walker, Dallas. The other part, other than the coaching in terms of individual on field, is the mental aspect. You just said Isaiah Williams, tough start, rebounded. Brandon Stevens, tough start, rebounded. So he's collecting these young, raw, coachable kids, and the mental aspect too. I think Glenn deserves a kudos in terms of certain players.
Comments, questions, super chats. Taylor in the raffle for 5 with this. Thank you, Taylor. For any of these wins to matter, I think Glenn needs a statement win where they punch above their weight class. Pats or Bills, Jaguars, I guess.
Great point.
I agree with that because right now, look, the Jets have proven they're not the worst team in the NFL. They're not a good team, but they're not, you know, the Titans or the Raiders or the Browns, right? They're not the Giants who, even with the quarterback, by the way, I think a good argument for why wins do matter for people who want to believe winning matters is the Giants have a quarterback and they still can't win because of how bad their infrastructure is, led by their GM who should not have a job, let alone be leading a coaching search going into next year. But that's their problem. But my point on like the Jets and what they're doing, Robbie, it's like, yes, they need the quarterback, but if you have the quarterback and you don't have the right coaching staff to set the foundation, it's not going to matter anyway. And the Giants are a good example of that. So to Taylor's point, maybe they don't need to beat the Pats or the Bills. It'd be nice, but do they need to show that they could go toe to toe with like a big time team down the stretch here to kind of validate what we're seeing with some of these wins and the quote unquote moral victory they got against the Ravens, let's say.
In 07, if anyone had told anybody that the Giants were going to beat the Pats in the Super Bowl, you would have been laughed out of the country. But that week 17, where the Giants hung in there, didn't win the game, hung in there, I think it was massive in terms of getting that upset with Eli in the Super Bowl. Yes, winning matters. And it's a great point that Asmaniac brought up. Try to get that big time win. It matters. It really does. And I think it'll be a really encouraging sign for the future.
Even beating Miami on Sunday, like win a division game.
Yeah.
They beat Tua for the first time, which as you look at that game on Sunday, the projected temperature, Robbie, 38 degrees. Tua's record when the temperature is below 46 degrees, 0-7, 1-8 when it's 50 degrees or colder. So the Jets have never beaten Tua ever when he started and completed the full game. Look, if they lose, am I going to freak out? No, because you could obviously benefit from the draft pick, but like there's an opportunity Sunday. The Dolphins are technically in the hunt at 5-7. They played a lot better. They've won a bunch of games in a row. You could essentially end their season and beat Tua for the first time and win a division game for the first time under Aaron Glenn if you win Sunday.
Yeah, McDaniel, listen, everyone wants McDaniel hung and gone, and he's still a good offensive mind in today's league. There's no question. So seeing this defense potentially go up against that and have success is important. And to your point about having the quarterback, 100, dude, Justin Herbert wasn't doing crazy things in LA before Harbaugh got there. I know we get hung up on the quarterback, and it's very, very important. But it is equally, if not more important, to have the right guy leading the charge. It's just that simple.
Super chats. They cut the line. This one's from Cashmere Black. Should the Jets make an offer for the Eagles backup quarterback Tanner McKee or Texans QB Davis Mills? What type of offer for either? Like, you want to add them to the room? Sure, but I am dead set on, 2 vets and a rookie. It could be Tyrod and one of those guys. It could be 2 different vets, but I need a rookie in the room, and in all likelihood, that rookie will be drafted in the first round this year in some capacity.
Agreed. And, haven't gotten into the QB, the college QBs yet. I will shortly, just a little bit. And from what I saw, I think I like Simpson better than Mendoza, but it's still early.
The name to watch is Dante Moore.
Yes, I got to watch. I haven't not dug into him yet, so that's a caveat. But is this group worthy of top 10 picks is the real question. And it'll be interesting if the Jets deem them not to be, they pass on them. I understand the anger. I do, because you want to get a guy, and I think they have to take the tact to draft a guy each year until they get it right. I think what you say and what a lot of Jets fans say is correct. That is correct.
Let's see. We got a super chat here from Big Will. He's been a channel member for 18 months. When are we going to get the respect of the ref calls? The PI by the Falcons and the catch they took away at the end could have been a game changer. You only get respect when you consistently win, Big Will. And also, sometimes the refs just suck. Like, the refs are just bad. Remember the Chiefs get every call? Well, I thought they got screwed on Thanksgiving a couple of times. So I think we all just need to accept that NFL referees a lot of times are just bad. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
You got to overcome. And I hear this from the Fields stands, and I'm convinced Fields has third-party people on social media working behind the scenes. It's amazing what I see out there. But the Fields stands talk about the drops. Oh, what do you expect? The drops. Got to overcome. Same with penalties. You got to overcome. When I'm coaching lowly high school and I'm up in the booth on the headset, half my job is being the therapist to get the head coaches to reset, chop it up, move on, get everyone ready for the next play, and overcome. Like, if you think the coaching or the refereeing at the NFL level is bad, oh my God, watch high school. It is absurd. So, that's the bounce of the ball. Like, it happens to every team, and you gotta suck it up and move on to the next play and overcome. It's that simple.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll talk more about the offense in a moment. Let's see this one from the big fella checking in. Our problem this year is not corner. The linebackers and safety are major issues. We can't cover the middle of the field, and tight ends kill us. Tight ends have killed the Jets, I feel like, for my entire lifetime of watching the Jets. It's like, it doesn't matter who the coach is, the GM, the players. The Jets can never cover any tight ends, but that's besides the point. I do agree with you, big fella. I think they're fine at corner. I think the big issue for the Jets is the linebackers, and I do think safety is a major issue. Now, Malachi Moore, I'm curious your thoughts, Robbie. Is he a starter for you going into next year? I know he's starting now. I'm not sold just yet. He did lead them in tackles on Sunday, but I think they do need maybe 2 new linebackers if Quincy's not here. They clearly need improvements at edge, as we previously discussed, but I think for sure safety is something that needs to be totally overhauled this offseason.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him as a, flat out starter, unrivaled, but he should be in the mix. I feel good about him going forward. I do. Not to the level of AZ yet, but AZ even. I need competition at corner with AZ and Brandon as well. Stevens is definitely more established. There's no question. Jermaine, part of the solution. Phillips, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I love him obviously too. Briggs. So there's a few guys, but there isn't much. There really isn't much. Quincy, I don't think he's going to be around. He for the plays he makes and his uniqueness in terms of how he could fly around in space. There's equally the same number of plays that really make you scratch your head that don't fit in terms of what the design, what they're trying to do against a certain play, against a certain package. Sherwood, it's still a work in progress. I don't know if it's really tough taking a free safety and making him a Mike of a defense. That is very, very difficult. And, he's not the biggest, most physical guy either. And you look at Glenn, he wants a filler and a spiller there. And to Sherwood's credit, he's really trying. He's really trying to to not elude blocks and instead fill and do the right thing in certain times. So it's still a work in progress. They need a lot of help. They need a lot of bodies and a lot of competition going into next summer.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Michael Levinson, who's been a channel member for 5 months. Thank you, Michael. Can't believe we could have had JSN over McDonald. Also, this QB class starting to scare me. People get so wrapped up in like, oh, it's class is starting to scare me. Like we did this last year and we ended up still having 2 guys go in the first round. I'm not getting wrapped up in the quarterbacks. There's going to be a guy that emerges as a first round pick in all likelihood that none of us are talking about right now.
Yes.
I don't know who that quarterback is. Maybe it's the USC quarterback, Mayava.
At least one.
Like this happens constantly. I just think we take a chill pill and we figure it out when we get closer to the draft order even being set, and we get to January 15th, by the way, and we see if Dante Moore is declaring, if he's coming out, if Ty Simpson's definitely coming out, so on and so forth. As far as, look, JSN over McDonald, yeah, you could do it over, obviously. I'm sure the Jets would take Jackson Smith and Jigba over Will McDonald, but it's a previous regime, and we got to hope that Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn are better at drafting than the Joe Douglas regime was.
The way you feel, you make yourself feel better about the future with quarterback, that they're going to pick the right guy, is looking at the past in terms of their evaluation. And right now, so far, so good. Yes, quarterback's much different than other positions, but still, so far, so good in terms of evaluation. The Mitchell and Mechie throw-ins, even if they're inconsistent, they're great throw-ins. Like the variables in terms of getting an active guy back as opposed to just draft picks can really increase your chances of winning that deal, because you're in a situation where you can play him and the variable is there. So the draft too, if you look at the draft, AZ at the start of the season, 2 months ago, AZ was a non-entity. The fact that he's playing as well as he is right now in defense is a really good sign in terms of evaluation. Malachi Moore, we'll see. Arian Smith, there's problems. Everyone's still trying to dig into that with Arian Smith. But Membu, they hit on that. So first draft is pretty good.
The first draft looks pretty good. The first, year as far as like personnel, there's been some hits and some misses, obviously. But the one thing that is undisputable, the in-season moves, I think, have been the best part of this season. Brownlee, Briggs, Phillips, Mechie, Mitchell. I mean, these guys are all on the team next year, and they're all contributors. And, maybe none of those guys are, quote, superstars, but you know what? They are winning football players. Like, your depth is a lot better with those guys being a part of it than if they weren't. So I think that's been impressive from Muji and Glenn. And we all understand the main thing is quarterback, but they have set themselves up to have what it will take to get the quarterback situation figured out. It just will simply come down to, can they do it?
Listen, I'm not going to lie. It's concerning to point at Fields, and anyone who's saying it was a planned rebuild the entire time is just, you're lying to yourself. It wasn't. There was enough talent here. They pivoted, and there's a lot of positives in terms of talent evaluation coming in, whether it's in season or draft, but it worrisome to point to Field and say, that's my guy. So, hey, definitely we gotta acknowledge that for sure.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Again, raffle on the second show today when we're joined by Joe Blewett for the film review. Early start time on the show because I'm in for Michael K today from 1 to 3. So watch it on YouTube. We need an Asmaniac takeover in the comment section. The raffle this afternoon is for a signed Revis jersey, signed LT jersey, and a signed Mosley helmet. And the end of the show today, we'll do a one prize raffle. Keyshawn, Mangold, Revis, Crabette, Martin, Klecko, Broadway Joe. Those are your choices. You can win a Jets Legends jersey by entering the raffle at the end of the show. Why don't we do this? $5 super chats today. We'll get you a raffle ticket. We'll make an exception. So, Big Phil, I'm putting you in for one. Also, anyone else who sends in a $5 super chat, you will qualify. The threshold is normally $10 for the super chats, but today we'll make the exception. We'll get to your calls coming up as well, so load them up on the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline. But let's talk about the offense, Robbie. We spent a lot of time talking about the coaching on defense and the special teams with Chris Banjo. Tyrod, he starts. He wins his first game. The big story is, of course, the performance of A.D. Mitchell. When you're watching back the film, when you're watching this game in real time, give us your breakdown on what you saw offensively. Did you notice anything with Tyrod and Engstrand in this offensive performance that stood out to you?
It was more the same early in the first half. Really conservative, really setting a conservative playing field box and playing within that. And on one hand, I get it based on the limitations with talent. On the other hand, you got to wonder: is this just Glenn? Is just this who he is? And that's the real fear. And you got to hope that's not the case. Um, eh, Again, Tyrod, he's a conservative quarterback by nature. Throws a great deep ball, as we saw with the AD catch. But it was funny. I think it was Samini at halftime. He said something. He's like, "Man, why don't they just have AD go deep? Because they're in one-on-one coverage on every play with a single high safety." And I told him, I go, "Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't understand. You have to stretch the field sometimes. They have the pass protection. There's plenty of situations where you could pull it off. And then you see it, boom, in the second half, they get it done. And then from there, guess what happens? Everything opens up a little bit. So you got to take chances. You got to stretch the field. Why it doesn't happen earlier in games is the fear. Is it game plan? Is it game flow? And as Jets fans, you just don't want to see that because you don't want a repeat of Salah.
Yeah, look, I think it's a fair point because the way they call PI in today's NFL, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't throw it downfield. And look, they did, and they got of the 108 yards that Mitchell had in the game, that doesn't count the 30-something yards or whatever it was on the PI that set up one of the Jets scores by just throwing it downfield, right? So
yeah, it all depends on coverage and situation, and more times than not, here's the kicker: it's there. It's there for the taking, and we're just not seeing enough attempts against press single high, and it's not double coverage, folks. So I'd love to see them open it up more. You can't go crazy. This is not NFL blitz. You can't go nuts, but there's definitely more opportunities, and I love that they did that.
Jeffrey Curina is in the Asmaniac raffle for one. Thank you, Jeffrey.
You play the game to win.
He's playing to win some prizes today on the show, including a Jets jersey at the end of this stream right here. Look, and again, one thing that I did notice, and I want to give credit to Engstrand and the coaching staff for, Brees Hall played basically the entire game, Robbie.
Yeah,
including on like every third down, which great, like he should. And that was something that we were clamoring for. Like, you had Brees Hall, play him. Like, we saw Brees Hall go out there, and he played 88% of the snaps on offense. He played 58 of the 66 total snaps. That is noticeable because in the past, Brees would come off the field for Isaiah Davis on a lot of third downs, and Isaiah Davis only played 8 snaps of the 66 total snaps. He only played in 12% of their snaps. Brees had 12 snaps on third down, and a week prior, he only had 2. So, again, I think some of the coaching stuff we've been asking for maybe has taken a lot longer than we wanted, but at least they are making some notable improvements. And I think Brees being out there as much as he was on third down was a good sign.
Agreed. And so we have to acknowledge some grace has to be given to Engstrand and the offense due to a crippling factor. When you point to Fields and you say, he's my quarterback, the offense is very specific. We talked about this in the summer. It's very, very specific. And any alteration in season is much more difficult because it's not a traditional classic offense that you could branch off a lot of different concepts. So the fact that Engstrand's working with that on the fly, the fact that Heiden's O-line, and I was worried about this. I said this a few weeks ago. Yes, we're going to see a lot more. We're going to be able to evaluate guys a lot better with Tyrod as opposed to Fields because the running game isn't going to be as easy. The zone read, legs, east-west threat with Fields is not going to be there. So defense doesn't have to waste guys. Spies. Coverage is going to be a lot more stout because you don't need spies out there. And they're still getting it done, the O-line. So there's got to be some grace because that Fields offense is very, very specific. And little by little, they're starting to work it out. And I'm looking right now that 80 touchdown was early in the third, right? 9 minutes left. 1st and 10 near midfield. It was the perfect shot play. So kudos. They got it done. They got the right look. They knew what was coming. One-on-one coverage, single high. Wasn't even press, but they still got it done. Actually, it was quarters. Oh, wow. Quarters. But yeah, good job.
Good job indeed. Good job indeed. Let's see here. We got a bunch of comments, people weighing in on the coaches, people discussing quarterbacks. A lot going on in the Jet universe, despite the fact the team is 3-9. How about this from Jesus Jerry? This is an important question for you, Sabo.
Yeah.
Robbie, when do you deem it appropriate to use truffle oil, and on what?
What is truffle oil? I've heard of the name. I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what truffle oil is?
Telling you, maybe I'm just a simpleton.
Where's Beast when you need him? God,
What is truffle oil? Someone please explain to this 8-year-old who doesn't know life.
truffle oil. I'll give you the actual definition. Is a finishing oil used to add the aroma and flavor of truffles to dishes.
See, everyone's acting like I know what truffles are. What are truffles?
Strong, garlicky, mushroom-like aroma. You use it on fries, maybe add it to a little pasta, put it on some pizza.
And the question was, when do I deem it appropriate?
Yeah, I guess you're not a
Honestly,
truffle guy.
the only time is when I unknowingly have it on some food that I ordered. That's probably the question. That's probably the answer.
Are you familiar with the truffle shuffle?
Yes, I very much am. In high school, we had a kid. He was the equipment manager who did the truffle shuffle for us all the time. Yes.
Man.
Yeah. It was quite the scene.
On that note, let's open it up to your calls, shall we? Comments, questions, your super chats. They cut the line first. Let me talk about Ridge Wallet, folks. Holiday season is here. If you are not buying a Ridge Wallet and taking advantage of their holiday sale, I'm sorry, you're missing out. They have up to 47% off on some of their items over at Ridge. So get the Ridge Wallet 2.0 that you see on your very screen. They have them in Jets and every NFL team, every MLB team, a bunch of your favorite colleges. So if you're looking for a gift and you want up to 47% off, check it out, ridge.com/Asman, and take advantage of the discount. It's a great wallet. It's sleek. It's easy to hold your credit cards, your license. You don't need that big bulky wallet in your pocket. So I'm someone who would like to avoid having the George Costanza wallet. So
that's the same thing I was thinking of.
this is one of the coolest gifts that I think you could give to someone. You got room for your gift cards. They got a spot for an air tag as well. So check it out, folks. For anyone who travels, I can't recommend the Ridge enough because of how sleek looking it is, and it doesn't take up a ton of space in your pocket or your bag or wherever. So check it out. Ridge.com, promo code Asman, and you could save up to 47% with that code and get a gift for a loved one, a friend, a significant other for the holiday season. Shout out to Ridge for sponsoring today's show.
Do you sell man bags too? Beast was telling me something about
oh yeah,
man bags at the Asmaniac store. I was looking, for the holiday season for some loved ones. No, man bags or no?
I can add some man purses for you.
Okay. Thank you, Beast.
Let's open it up. Let's get to some calls here on the show. Mr. Robby Sabo joining us here on the second day of December. And first up today, this guy is not called in very often, but it's now twice in 2 days.
I'm intrigued.
Boomtown, the chairman of the Asmaniac Madness Committee's first today. Hello, Boom.
Morning, fellas. How are you?
What's up, Boom?
Boom.
I have a question regarding the Jets scouting departments, and I figure Robbie might have some insight on this. So the way I generally understand it, all the scouts are assigned to different regions of the country. So you might have Southwest or Northeast or by conference. So SEC or Big.
Are you Canadian?
12. I am.
And I heard that I heard it. Okay, go
on. All right. So these guys are all going to their different areas, and then they come back and they sort of deliberate. They look at tape, they argue, and that's how the big board is essentially developed. Is that generally correct?
I think so. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, every single franchise has its own setup, from what I understand. It's unique in its own right. But I think generally speaking, I think we can go with that. Yeah.
Okay. So my question is then, to your knowledge, has Muji made any changes to the scouting department? Have they fired anyone? Have they brought anyone in? Has he brought in sort of like his guys?
Jake, didn't they moved a lot of folks out Jake, do you remember what they did when they hired Muji in terms of?
Yeah, they've hired several new scouts. Robbie Payton is the guy that is like Muji's right-hand man
from Denver.
From
Yeah.
Denver. Yep, they brought him in from Denver. I could actually pull up my info
I can't
here.
remember who they got rid of at the same time.
So their administration, these are the guys that are new. Rick Spielman, senior football advisor. Casey Driscoll, who's new manager of football administrations. Destiny Rodriguez, assistant of personnel operations. They retained Phil Savage. He's still on as a consultant. Senior director of football ops is Dan Zavatsky. They hired a brand new analytics staff. Senior scout and special projects. TJ McCrate is new. They've hired, they've hired 2 new pro scouts. They've hired 1 new college scout so far. So they have a lot of the same scouts year over year. Again, the biggest addition has been Robbie Payton, who's the director of player personnel and is considered Muji's right-hand guy.
Look at Payton in terms of the boss for all that out in the field stuff in terms of scouts.
All right, that's positive. So see there's some turnover. My concern is we've had the same sort of scouts for all these years, and for all the good decisions and bad decisions that Douglas had made, like you don't really want to have the same sort of staff that are in Muji's ear this year. I think more in towards like how they're evaluating wide receivers. So they're telling their GM that Malachi Corley is the guy over someone like a Brian Thomas Jr. And you're like, we can't have that, because I suspect in this draft we are going to be looking at a wide receiver, maybe with our second pick, if we still have our second first rounder, or if it's a second rounder, we kind of have to hit on it this year. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's a good thoughts for sure. And there are definitely new faces. They got rid of a lot of people, and not just in the scouting department, across the entire organization. And the other factor too is Glenn, as Jake has said, Glenn and Muji, they are tied, man. They are tied at the hip. It's the old structure where it was Rex and the GM. And back in the day, Mangini and Rex were involved in personnel heavily. And that's the same with Glenn.
Very good. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah.
Hey, great call, Boomtown. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, look, again, I think they have more guys in the front office that are their own hires than they had a year ago, just because the way it typically works with a new regime, you retain the scouts that are there because they've done all the work at that point on, the upcoming draft class. That's just how it goes. So they've hired a bunch of new scouts since, and they've actually had a pretty good draft. So hopefully it only gets better from here, because the stakes have never been as high as they will be with the amount of picks they now have over the next 2 years. And we know at least one of these first round picks, if not maybe more than one. Who knows? Hopefully not, because it means they got it right with the first selection of a QB, but we know it's going to be a QB.
Yeah. It's massive. It's massive. And we'll see if it ever gets into a situation, no one wants this, but if they draft a quarterback this offseason and signs are there that the guy's not going to develop, I would love to see them have the balls to just double down again the next year.
Right.
I would love to see that. It would tell me that things have changed, that things are different.
I agree with you. T-Town Jet is in the Asmaniac wrap.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Today, we're playing to win a signed Mosley helmet, signed LT jersey, and a signed Darrelle Revis jersey. That's during our second stream. The end of today, though, how about a Namath jersey, a Klecko jersey, a Martin jersey, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, and Keyshawn, all available if you enter the raffle. For today, a $5 super chat will get you in for one, so make sure you keep that in mind. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, it is time to get back to your calls, where Taylor is standing by, and he's next on the show this morning. Hello, Taylor.
Jake, Robbie, what's going on?
What's up, Taylor?
So I had a question. I keep going back and forth on, it's looking like if we want to, get the first pick at a QB, they're going to have to trade up. Right now, at least that's what it's looking like. I still don't know if I'd rather a first next year or the Indianapolis first this year, because I keep looking at the back half of the first round this year, and we need a linebacker or a safety bad, and I feel like that's a great spot to get one of those. And everybody's saying, next year's draft is great, but what do us any really know about it?
Yeah.
Interested to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the quarterback thing's tricky. They don't have to necessarily trade up to get one. It all depends on how it falls. Um, it's so early. I think I need to look into the film ASAP. I got to start looking at it because my opinions on Simpson, Mendoza, Moore aren't as strong as I think where the hype is for the fans right now. So that's on me. I got to get in there. Jake, what do you think? I mean, it depends. It depends on how everything works out with these QBs.
We got to figure out how many of them are going to actually declare in the first place, because that will tell us a lot on just like how scarce it might be for the Jets to get like the guy they want versus like, hey, let the draft fall to them if there's 3 or 4 guys that they might have a first round grade on. That's going to come out.
I think a big thing too, if you look at like the Raiders, the Browns obviously would probably be second to the Jets, I'd say, as far as like roster, and just adding a quarterback would make them better, even though they just drafted 2 quarterbacks last draft. But I'm looking at like the Raiders, and it's like, if they get a rookie QB, he's going to look just like Geno in that offense. Like they need offensive line help bad. So I don't know if they're going to be gung ho trying to take a quarterback, but they also do need one. So it's getting hazy. As far as the game Sunday, it was a fun little win, but I'm still like back to my super chat I said about needing a statement win. Like watching that Pats game last.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, the coach staff is improving, but I'm like, to show me, to really convince me that, Glenn's got it going on and he can really game plan for a team. I'm like, and I'm eyeing the Patriots, that would be an absolute statement win to go in and somehow, out-coaching McDaniels on the offensive side of the ball is virtually impossible, it seems, for most of the teams in the league.
It's nice for the fans, but the statement win too would be great for the locker room and the organization. It would do wonders. Now,
well, yeah, imagine going into next year and the Pats, Pats and Bills are going to be the top 2 dogs that you're trying to go at. If you beat them with the skeleton squad you kind of have right now after trading your pieces at the end of the year when they're vying for playoff position, that would be huge, I feel like.
Yeah, it's not nothing for sure. It definitely matters. It's a galvanizing thing for sure. I agree.
That's all I got today, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Taylor, great call. And, it's interesting. There was some news that broke yesterday that I think Jet fans maybe aren't aware of and how it could impact them. So Will Stein, who's the offensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks, he took a head coaching job. He's going to be the head coach of Kentucky. And there was a thought that Dante Moore would go back to school because he's really close with Will Stein and he would go back for another year of development under Stein. But now that Stein's a head coach, I think the idea that Dante Moore is going to go back to school, I'm not necessarily buying it, because if Moore is told by his agent and NFL people, hey, if you declare you're going to be a top 10, top 15 pick, I think he'll come out, because there's no guarantee if he goes back to school that he doesn't suffer an injury like Drew Aller did and it hurts his draft stock. Or if everyone says next year's quarterback class is so much better, well, okay, well, if he goes back to school and it is actually what it's supposed to be, it is so much better, maybe he would go a lot further down in the first round than if he came out this year, costing himself a lot of money. If he comes out and he's a top 10 pick, he seems like a guy that, like to me, would definitely fall in that range based on what I have seen so far. So that to me was notable yesterday, because everything I read about Dante Moore was that he had this relationship with Will Stein, who's the OC. Well, now he's leaving and Oregon's in the playoffs. So maybe they go on this deep playoff run and who knows, they could win a national title even. And then at that point, Moore's like, I've done everything I wanted to do in college. I'm now going to go to the pros. And he really raised his stock with a great playoff performance. So I think we just, again, got to wait till we get to January 15th, because that's the deadline date for all these college quarterbacks to decide if they're staying in school for another year or they're going to declare.
Yeah, it's things change quickly. Just ask Old Miss. I think things happen quickly. And listen, yes, all the attention is on Simpson and Dante Moore, but Simpson, Moore, Mendoza, it's a bunch of other dudes, guys. Like they're not getting the hype right now, but there's a lot of other guys that the Jets are going to do their homework on, and it's the land of opportunity. If you were to draft a franchise quarterback in the second round, late first, third, whatever, not in the top 10, that is the land of opportunity in the NFL because you could fill their spots that much easier. So let's not rule that out completely. Let's just make sure that's in the back of our minds.
1000%. Hit the like button. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. This one from Jay Petito gets him in the raffle. That's right. $5 super chats today. We'll get you a raffle ticket. How about that Texas Tech linebacker, Rodriguez, to lead our defense with that second first-round pick? So that'd be Jacob Rodriguez, who's a Heisman candidate. I don't know enough about him as far as where he's projected to go, if that would be considered like fair value for him. I do know that he's having a phenomenal season, and Texas Tech has been one of the more surprising teams in the league. Based on Tankathon's mock, he's projected to go in the 4th round at pick 133. So I don't know if he's a first-round guy, despite the fact he's a Heisman candidate. So
yeah,
those are my thoughts.
He's moving up from what I heard to 3rd, maybe 2nd, and it's always interesting with those devalued quote unquote positions, linebacker, running back, particularly. How big is he?
He
235. Yeah, I'd have to see him. I'd have to see him on tape.
6'1", 235.
Yeah,
he's an older prospect too, which also hurts his value. He's been in college for 1, 2, 3, 4. This is his 5th year in college.
5th year. It's not, in terms of just on paper fit, it's kind of solid because he's a bigger linebacker. If you would say 235 is bigger linebacker 20 years ago, you'd be crazy. But these days, it's a bigger linebacker who's probably physical, I'm assuming. So we'll see. It's definitely worth a name because linebacker is desperate. I was surprised they re-signed Sherwood, but they definitely need help, even by re-signing Sherwood.
I think the name to watch at linebacker. Well, there's really 2 guys. If you consider Arvell Reese a linebacker, he's like a stud pass rush type guy. If the Jets maybe don't go quarterback with their first pick, like Reese is a guy who's projected to go like anywhere from like 1 to anywhere in the top 10. And then the other linebacker that Ohio State has that people like is Sonny Styles, who's projected to go 21 right now. That could fall in line with the Colts pick. So, if they do, let's say quarterback with their first pick and then linebacker with their second, that wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah. And the first kid, edge, that is the wild card position. We saw it with McDonald. It doesn't matter what your roster looks like. It feels like the 2 positions, more edge than cornerback, but edge and corner, you feel like those guys could be picked anytime in the top 10 or top 20, no matter what the roster is. So yeah, that's a good call.
You got time for one more call, Mr. Sabo?
Yeah, let's do it. Ladies
and gentlemen, let's say hello right now to Doug from an undisclosed
on the couch
furniture item.
On the bed. That's right.
How you guys doing? Quick question. Are we going to get a compensatory pick for Kinlaw?
I believe Kinlaw is factored into the Jets.
You stumped me on that one.
The Jets list of comp picks. Let's see.
There is one projected, but who is it?
5th round comp pick, I think, is the Kinlaw one.
Okay. And then, so I was happy with the win. You see the culture building. I think it leads to a good future. It showed, like you said, Jake, in the first week, 7 games versus the last few games, it's a very different team. You were competitive in every game. I want to win division games, so I would like to win on Sunday. It's annoying to keep losing in division. Like, yeah, it would be nice to have the last place schedule next year to maybe get a little bit easier to schedule, but it's important to win division games.
I think they still would have a last place schedule because even if they beat Miami, I don't know. I think the Jets are still going to finish behind them.
So, like, you want to win one of these division games. You want to keep building. The Saints, like, and you said it, the bad teams in this league are so bad. You're going to be picking one anyway. Like, the Saints, Raiders, and Titans are some of the worst NFL teams I've ever seen.
Even the Giants, man. Yeah. Like, that's why it's like, oh, we're losing out on draft positioning. But it's like, you know what? I'd rather be the Jets than the Titans right now, or the Saints, the Raiders or the Browns, you know?
Yeah, like if you're a Titans fan, you can't enjoy watching football. Like there's nothing like you think Cam Ward can be the guy, but there's nothing promising. Like with the Jets, you see things have improved. And you said it, Chris Banjo was the best special teams coach in the NFL right now, I think. What he's done with his special teams is incredible. And then I have one quick draft question. So say we stay at like 6-7. Didn't mean to do that joke. I'm so sorry. That was an apology.
6-7.
Say we stay in that like 4 to 8 range. And on Tankathon, they had us picking Jordan Tyson. So say like they pick Jordan Tyson 7 or whatever it is, and then they pick Sonny Styles or a defensive player, and then they do what the Saints did this past year, pick a guy like Shuck or something like that, a quarterback in the second round, because you had the 3 first-round picks in the next year. So I'm not saying you don't pick a quarterback this year, but if you don't love a guy in the first round, I don't think you have to reach. So you can do what the Saints did this past year, see if a second-round pick is maybe worth a backup or it could be a starter because you never know. And then if you don't love the guy as the future starter, you can pick it again in the first round in 2027. How would you feel if that's the route the Jets took?
Yeah, look, I think they need to get the quarterback figured out, Doug. Now, you could take multiple swings on it, but I just look at the Jets and the moves they made, and I just keep going back to the fact I think they told Woody when they were trading Sauce and Quinnen, we're going to do whatever it takes to get the quarterback situation figured out. Maybe they told Woody at the time of the deal. Yeah, like I think they told Woody probably when they made the deal, hey, we've done the homework on these quarterbacks. We expect there to be options for us, and we're going to end up with someone we feel good about. So I don't think they're going to bypass quarterback completely in round 1.
But I do agree with you. The Will Stein thing is big. Dante Moore is the guy for me out of the 3.
You like him more than Simpson?
I like him. Mendoza, yeah, he's been good at Indiana. But the one good team they played is Oregon. I want to see how he does against Ohio State, who has the best defense in the country on Saturday. Dante Moore, I think, has played a little bit against tougher teams like the USC, good team this year. Washington has a very good defense. And I think he's made more of those like good throws. And when you not need him to make the big moments, he's done it. I just like his upside a little bit more than Mendoza or Ty Simpson. And also, I like that. So he was a transfer guy, Dante Moore. And he sat and wait for a year behind Dylan Gabriel and learned. And then he took the starting job this year. So he's like learned an offense okay with sitting. So I feel like if he's a guy you take and say you bring back Tyrod or whoever your bridge quarterback is here, I think he's already with the mindset, okay, I got to prep. I'm okay with like just taking my bumps, learning and not starting right away.
Moore's from a non-Southern state too, right? He's from
California.
Is he really? I thought he was from Ohio or Pennsylvania.
No, I'm pretty sure he started out. I think he's from California. I know he went to UCLA first, played a little bit there, and then transferred to Oregon. Was the backup last year to Gabriel, and then was a starter this year. So
okay, I promise all the Asmaniacs. I'll look at Dante Moore. I'll get into the quarterback soon. I've been holding it off.
But yeah, and then Will has said it a lot. I like Mayava, but you don't know if he's going to come out or not.
Yeah.
But for me, Moore would be the guy. But again, we got a lot of. You said it, Jake, and people said it. We got a lot.
Born East Cleveland, Ohio. How long was he in Ohio for?
I thought he was a Cali guy, but
moved to Detroit. It doesn't matter. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no. But yeah, we have no idea what's going to happen between now and the draft. We don't know who's going to come out. Guys could get hurt. We don't know how they're going to play in these big games. So it's a wait and see. Obviously, we got to need the quarterback, but I am happy with the win the other day. And like you said, Jake, I'm not rooting for losses, but like if they lose, I won't be mad. I just want competitive football, which they've been showing the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, since the Dallas game, they've been in basically every game, right? I mean, even the New England game, which ends up looking lopsided. That was a game at halftime, and they've been right there. Better quarterback play. They win a couple more of these games. It's a fascinating conversation. What's the Jets' record if Tyrod started every game this year?
They beat the Steelers. I would say
Fields played great that day.
So they beat the Broncos. They beat the Panthers.
Yeah,
I think he had a chance to win that game because of the block at the end. But
you could argue that.
Forget Tyrod, just any confident quarterback.
Any confident quarterback. Like I don't have a problem with Fields as a person, but just he was not competent. Like you couldn't keep doing it.
And this report from I think it was Samini that he's worried about soft tissue. Listen, I don't know if it's true or not, but my goodness, if it is true, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
if Tyrod gets hurt, I don't want Fields starting again. I would want Cook, even if you don't think Cook is ready. Like, it just seems like at this point, Fields could be more of a cancer than anything to the locker room, and I just don't want him playing at all. Like, if Tyrod gets hurt, at this point, the way Tyrod looked, I want him to start the rest of the way. But if he gets hurt, I want Brady Cook as the starter.
Yeah, fair. The only thing I want to see is just gradual improvement in terms of the coaching, in terms of players buying in terms of them playing every snap the right way and meaningful. And if I keep seeing improvement in that area, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, I think most sane Jets fans are on the same page. Like, the culture building right now is important, and like seeing that you have the right guys in the future is important. Like, I really like Muji. You said the in-season trades have been great. The scouting, the draft. I would say your first four round picks have all are starters on your team right now. So they're contributing. That's a good sign of the draft. Obviously, Barron whiff, Arian Smith looking like a whiff, but like, you have 4 contributors to your team. And if you get that out of a draft, most teams would consider that a successful draft. So you like their scouting. And I think, like, the past regime, they didn't realize their mistakes. This team is realizing their mistakes with roster guys and like, okay, got to get rid of them. Got it. Like, if this was the past regime, Xavier Gibson would still be on this team.
And you know what's funny? It's the exact opposite of what it was being preached. You know, Glenn, we want him here. If they're a good guy, we want to keep him. So that is the greatest surprise. Like, no one saw that coming. So the fact that they did load those 2 guys, both on the defensive side, which I think is a positive, you know, loading 2 defensive studs in a non-defensive NFL. After he kept preaching, we want to keep our guys. We want to keep our guys. They re-signed Garrett and Sauce, which I was not a huge fan of, but okay. I get it based on salary purposes, and they did it the right way. They didn't lock themselves in where they couldn't be traded. That was a pleasant surprise to me that after all that preaching, we want to keep our own guys, they were willing to push that button.
Yeah. But I, for once, have hope going towards the future. I feel like, I don't think it's crazy to have that. Last question, Jake. I'm going to the Knicks Celtics game. What should I look out for tonight?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you're in Boston, Doug.
Yes.
What should you look out for? I mean, you know, look out for scumbag Celtics fans trying to give you a tough time.
Are the worst. I haven't had any issues with Celtics, like going to basketball games or anything. The Patriots fans are the worst of the Boston group.
Yeah, and they're good again.
Don't say anything to you. Celtics fans, like Bruins fans, I haven't any issues. It's a Patriots fan. Only Boston fan base who've tried to fight me at a game. So it's the Patriots.
What were you doing, Doug? What were you doing?
I said, so they have a alumni of the game at Patriots games, and the game I went to, it was the Jets-Pats game last year, and the alumni was Adam Vinatieri. And I said to my friend who I was with, you know, personally, I think of Adam Vinatieri more of a Colt than a Patriot, which I don't think is the craziest thing in the world to say.
It's borderline.
Yeah, but like for me, I'm 28, so most of my life he was the Colts.
Yeah.
You're older, I understand it, but for me, I think of him more as a Colt. And this guy got so offended. Like, how the fuck can you think of it? And just was shit-faced and tried to fight me. I was like,
to be fair, he did hit 2 game-winning kicks in the Super Bowl for New England?
Yeah, he did. But again, it was like, and he tried like showing me all the highlights, and it was just.
Doug, you explain yourself well, but I think we all know you were trying to stir up some shit.
You know what? I'm always looking for trouble. I just want to fight people at Patriots games. That's my goal, especially when I'm sober and they're drunk, and I would have won, but like those are my goals in life, to beat up a Patriots fan.
Hell yeah.
You didn't have to tell us. We know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Look, enjoy the game, Doug. Late start because the game's a nationally televised game for NBC later. The Knicks have been bad on the road this year. They're undefeated. I think they've only lost 1 home game this year, but they're 3-5 on the road.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how they play. I was at the game when they played Boston earlier this year, and they won. And they played well that night. So we'll see. We'll see how they look later. But can the Knicks get a big win on the road with Doug in the building? That's the story.
I hope so.
Guys,
yeah.
Have a great Tuesday.
Doug,
you too.
You too, man. Enjoy the game later. Mr. Sabo, I appreciate you hopping on early with me today to accommodate today's radio schedule. Can you plug JetX and tell the people what they need to know about this week's content?
Yeah, man. JetsXFactor.com. Go to it. JetX Mobile on the App Store, Google Play. And you get all the good stuff. All the good stuff. I got that AZ Thomas film review up right now. Nick Faria is back writing. Connor Long.
Condolences to Nick, by the way.
What's that?
condolences to Nick.
Yes.
Very sorry to hear about his father passing, for those who missed it.
Yes. So Blew It, Nania, all the familiar faces. Come hang with us.
Love it. Mr. Sabo, appreciate you coming on, my friend.
You got it. Bye.
Robby Sabo with us there. Here's what we're going to do, folks. We got a bunch of you on hold. We're going to get back to your calls. Reminder, we are going to do a jersey raffle at the end here, and it's your last show to enter the weekly raffle as well. So make sure you guys enter for your chance to win any of those Jets jerseys you see on the screen. Before we do any of that, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, get to the calls. Still got a raffle. A lot to do. Jake Asman with you, and you're watching our Tuesday extravaganza right here on YouTube. Back with more right after this.
Harry Rogers.
Yeah.
I want to apologize for yesterday. I was trying to show off the name on my jersey, but my desk chair doesn't swivel. So I got up and I showed off my butt.
When was the last time you took a shower?
I don't know. Thursday evening.
You haven't showered since Thursday?
Yeah,
You probably reek. Oh.
He stinks.
yeah.
Oh, you gotta be disgusting.
Constantly play down to competition. How the hell did he lose to Zach Wilson when Zach Wilson was fucking trash? Let me finish, okay? Are you...
How was the dinner the other night? Did you see Charles there? He had to leave early because his mom wanted him home. Do you have any other words also you want to ask me?
What was your question to me?
Do you remember Sam and Darnold? He was good, but then I think he retired because he got old.
He's on the Vikings.
I wish I can get Charles's recipe for soup.
Me too.
Yeah, but anyway, Mourners, Knoble is alive. He's just not starting yet.
Where is
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Lane, thanks for the time.
Right now, what I need to have happen, Charles, I need you to put on the Gorman tank. It's Friday. The vibes are high. Put on the Charles Gorman-inspired Jake Asman Show tank top for the people.
I will maybe next week.
What? Put it on. Put it on. Oh, my God, he's doing it.
Football is back, bitches.
Give us one more spin around, all right?
Give us the full modeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the ass. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Charles, would you like to respond to Gator? He says you look like you combed your hair with a pack of firecrackers. How come you didn't congratulate him?
I did on the baby. Yeah, he had a.
You didn't say this, though.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
Congrats on the sex. Oh, my God.
Yeah, how do you think babies are made?
You know, it's funny. True story. When I was a kid, I actually thought I came from a stork. I shit you not, man. Like, you know, when you have all these dreams and shit, it's like, you know, here you go, here's your baby. That's what I thought happened to me when I was a kid.
So to be clear, you were not acquired via stork, right?
Yes, I was biologically made by my mother and father.
Dennis Gorman?
And my mother, Roseanne.
Shout out.
Hey, look, soy boy. Do I need to remind you where you came from, Estevato, with those ugly up cornrows?
You act like a child because you still haven't hit puberty. When was the last time you took a shower? When are you going to get a new T-shirt on? Did you brush your teeth this morning?
Because I look twice as sexy than your sorry ass. You filthy little degenerate. You're a straight up asshole. Have you ever been in a mosh pit?
Answer a question. Your inability to stay focused whatsoever, combined with being 200 pounds overweight, not being able to get out of your house. Do you think that's related to your diet or not?
You really got some balls, don't you, you little bastard?
I'm asking you a question. Do you think it's related to your diet? Yes or no?
I look good. I look just as good. All you're just doing is blowing smoke up my ass, act like you're God's gift to the United States. When it comes to fourth down, you punt the ball. On fourth down, what I do, I like to ram it down people's throats. That's my job.
Right? You're a young man. You're the same age as me. I think you're younger than me. You don't need to live this way. You really don't.
I got to deal with one guy that looks like a fruitcake from the Eddie Murphy movie when Eddie Murphy said, "One of them dreadlocks and they some shit lost."
Even though you look like a butterball turkey, I do love you.
What the hell did you say, clown boy?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Hit the like button. Remember to join the raffle if you haven't done so already. Zedward with a super chat. No trade up for a quarterback draft. Who falls to you? Fix needs first. Edward, I think you're just saying don't trade up for a quarterback. I'll interpret your super chat there. Look, to me, there's a fine line. If you love one of the quarterbacks, you have to be willing to be aggressive to get the guy you like. That's my philosophy. Like, if you have conviction that this is your guy, then you get him. But you better be right. And if you're not, you're going to be fired. That's typically how it goes. You usually only get one crack at drafting the quote-unquote franchise quarterback, especially if you trade up. But if you have conviction in that guy, you got to be willing to make a deal. Now, me personally, I have a limit to what I'd be willing to give up. I don't want to give up 3 1s to move up, from 7 to 1. I'd be willing to give up the Colts pick and a 2 next year and still preserve my 3 first-rounders in 27, because then I could make a trade back with one of those and recoup what I just gave up, because next year's draft class, not just at quarterback, but receiver, pass rusher, supposed to be like a historic draft, like the 21 draft as far as the talent. Now, the quarterbacks in 21 stunk, but look at the 2021 draft class as far as the players. Like, it is an unbelievable draft class. That's what they're saying next year's draft could look like in 27. Like, obviously, Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Fields, Mac Jones, it hasn't panned out. But the other non-quarterbacks, Chase, Waddle, Sewell, J.C. Horn, Surtain, Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater, Jalen Phillips, Christian Darrisaw, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Rashad Bateman. There are so many good players from that draft. Like, that's what next year's supposed to be. So I'd like to preserve my 27 first. Here's what will help the Jets. If the Colts keep losing, and let's say they actually were to miss the playoffs, if the Jets own pick 18 and they have their own first, if they package both of those picks to the Titans, I think they would take the Jet offer. Because some of the other teams that also have multiple first-round picks, it won't be as good as what the Colts pick would be. For example, Cleveland owns the Jaguars pick. Feels like Jacksonville is going to make the playoffs. Now, maybe if the Colts rally and make the playoffs, Jacksonville then wouldn't. So this is still to be determined. But let's operate on this premise that Jacksonville is one of the playoff teams. Well, the Cleveland pick would be lower than the Jets pick because they're going to finish in front of the Jets, possibly, right? But the Jaguars pick that they own wouldn't. So I think the Jets, plus the fact that they have 2 2s this year and they have they could offer more than the Browns is my point because of the Sauce and the Quinnen deal. And who knows if Cleveland's going to be that aggressive for a quarterback? Who knows? I don't know what their philosophy is going to be. They might be having a brand new regime coming in. They might blow it all up. I think the Jets have quite the opportunity to get their guy if they believe in their guy. I think there's a fine line to what you're going to give up, but there's a path. PBM with a super chat. Wins after elimination don't translate to the following year. How many times have we seen this play out? Gase 1-7 to 7-9. We beat New England in week 18. Come on. Yeah, you're referencing week 18. I think winning now with a new program matters. The Gase year, that was an older team, Mike. Like, who were the cornerstone players you were counting on in the 2019 Jets? It was supposed to be Sam, but we know what happened there. I think there's younger players that are learning how to win on this team. So, look, if we get to week 18 and the Jets could lose to guarantee a top 5 pick versus winning and they drop to like 8 or 9, I'll probably root for the loss, even if, the Bills need the game and the Jets could eliminate them. You know what I mean? Like, I think week 18 is different, but, there were 6 games to go in the season when they played Atlanta. It's a lot of games left, man. You want to see some improvement. You want to see that the Jets improvement that we have seen that hadn't translated to wins at that point, right? The Ravens and the Patriot game, for example. You want to see it translate with some wins along the way, and it did on Sunday. We'll see how they look against Miami now. And look, to your point, yeah, I mean, wins sometimes don't translate year over year. I agree with that. But I think for Glenn and what he needs to do to validate his program, having the Jets in the right direction, you could argue wins are important. I see both sides of it. I do think it's not exactly the same thing as the Gase 2019 year, but it's a fair point. Ralphie Rocks in the raffle for 2 with this super chat. Thank you, Ralphie. Not in the play Brady Cook camp. I'd rather we keep Tyrod in there and continue to see what we have in Mitchell, Mechie, and Taylor. Those guys are more important in 2026 than Cook. Agreed. But if we get to the last couple games and let's say Tyrod's banged up, I would go to Cook before I'd go back to Fields, would be my point. That'd be my take. Let's get to more calls, shall we? JJ's on the line. Hello, JJ.
Yo, Jake. So originally when we traded Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, you were not happy about it. And it seems like you've turned slightly a new leaf.
No, I was shocked by it. I think they got great value with the moves.
But I don't think you thought that we were going to win any more football games for the rest of the year. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Jets were probably going to finish with 3 or 4 wins, and I think they're going to win at least one more game.
Well, the reason I say that is because I think consistently we have become a better team since we've did these moves. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like the defense is starting to play better. So that just lets me know that some of the players that we had, including Quentin Williams, were just kind of checked out, which is fine. And, you know, you've been on a losing team for so long. There's only so much that you can do. With that being said, I bring that up to say I completely disagree with Purple Belt Mike, because stacking wins now is going to give the team motivation for the future. If you look at Quentin Williams, who's on a team year after year and he just lost and lost and lost, eventually you're just going to, it's like, I just get me out of here. No one's going to want to be on a team next year that just consistently loses. Stacking wins now also helps us to recruit players to come to play for the New York Jets. Who's going to want to come and sign with us in free agency if we finish the season 3-9 or 3 and whatever, versus if we start to win and build on things towards the end of the season and they can clearly see we turn things around. I think winning is super important because it helps us attract winners, right? No one's going to want to come to a crap team that has no hope in sight. And even when we bring up Adam Gase, like we consistently forget that the very next year after Adam Gase, when Robert Saleh took over, you guys said that year shouldn't even count because we had a developmental roster. Well, so then, I mean, the same could be said for Adam Gase. I'm not defending Adam Gase by any metrics, but I'm just saying, like, how do we, on one hand, say that team and that roster was so terrible when Robert Saleh takes over, but we don't give Grace the same, okay, yeah, you had a shit team. Now, obviously, you weren't a good head coach either way, but you also had a bad team. So I think those two things are completely different scenarios. I think winning is going to solve a lot of problems for us. I also wanted to call in and just give some love to Gary. I think Gary consistently has been the best caller on this show for a long time. And I appreciate him for calling in and defending me yesterday, because when I mentioned that Archie Manning, I thought, was on the college football playoff committee, oh my God, you guys thought like I was the stupidest thing I ever said. Not knowing, most of you didn't know that he literally started the committee. Like, he was a part of the first ever committee selection team for the first 2 years. How was I supposed to know that he got sick and retired from the committee? I didn't know that. But you would have thought, you guys, that I would have said, oh, Barack Obama was the president of China at one point. Like, no, it's not like what I said had never happened. Or like the people in this chat, you guys make me laugh sometimes, because you guys just think, who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I do, but you guys make me laugh sometimes, because you guys are so overboard in this chat. Also, I wanted to say, how do you feel?
Gator says JJ's the most overrated caller on YouTube. Gary is often wrong.
Okay, I'm sure Gator has a lot of good feelings. I don't agree with Gator on mostly anything. To be honest with you, I don't think Gator has ever played a sport in his life.
So Gary's the best caller because he defends you.
No, Gary. I hope Boomtown can find this. Go look at Gary's first ever call on the Jake Asman show. I immediately called in after, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's like, that was an amazing call. I hope he calls in more. Go find it, Boomtown. Go find it. This day one, I've been a supporter of Gary, because Gary comes on the show and he speaks with such intelligence. You know, he says things.
And Yo Holmes is right. You're supposed to know this stuff because maybe you fact check it before you come on. And by the way, the Archie Manning college football playoff thing, I mean, it was like in 2014. That's like over 10 years ago.
Okay, so Jake, let me ask you a question. Who's on the college football playoff committee right now?
It's a bunch of athletic directors.
Okay, but can you
Other
name them
people-
all?
No, because they're not that famous.
Okay, then. So if I knew of one person who was on the committee who was notable and famous, and I did not know that he was no longer part of the committee because I don't check every year to see who's still on the committee or still not. I just remembered that when the committee first started, he was on it, so I assumed that he stayed on. How is that such a wow? And let me ask you a question. Why am I fact checking things before I come on the show? No offense to you, Jake. You've built a great platform, but I'm not an ESPN analyst or host. And this is not a on TV show where every time you call in, you got to be ready to, like, what are we talking about? This is a YouTube show that we all enjoy. We call in and it gives us something to do during the day.
I think the point from the chat is if, you're going to call in and just be so incredibly wrong with some of the things you say. Maybe.
Okay, what else was I incredibly wrong about, though? You guys make it seem like, okay, and everybody's going to bring up, huh?
I'm just reading the chat, and to their point is if you're going to call in, maybe just be better prepared with the points you're going to make.
Better prepared. I said, would it be a conflict of interest if Texas makes the college football playoff because Archie Manning is on the committee? And then you pointed out, no, he's not. And I said, he's not. I could have sworn he was. And then we found out that he wasn't. That was an impromptu suggestion that just popped into my mind that happened to be, false. Okay, big whoops. You guys act like you know what they act like. They act like they know every single thing about every single thing in the world. Maybe when you call, what is he saying? I can't. It's so small, I can't read it.
Maybe when you call, stop playing video games for 5 minutes.
You know what I like about Gator, right? Gator always has something to say about me. I think Gator wants to be like my boyfriend or something. But sorry, Gator, I'm a married man, and I can't do that for you.
It sounds like you like to justify making up stuff, says Common Country.
So I would ask him to tell me what else have I made up? What else have I made up? What have I said that was just false? Tell me. You guys can't. The only thing you guys can say is, JJ said Justin Fields was going to be in the Ring of Honor. And to that I say, you guys also told me that Zach Wilson was going to be a good football player. Sometimes you're wrong in life. It's okay. But the problem is when you guys don't
Beast
ever...
says you're boring. You're boring, Beast.
I don't care what Beast says. Beast needs to leave the house and go get some vitamin D. He's paler than a piece of white paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
You know
Hi, Beastbreaker.
I got my
What is that?
grandfather's hammer that I work with. These are my tools that my grandfather had. And you call me lazy? I don't know who the hell you think you are, Mr. Cornrolls. Yo,
Number one, I don't have cornrows. Number two, you're a grown man and you have no facial hair. This is sad. Now, I will say I am happy that you finally changed that T-shirt. You put on a different T-shirt, so we're making progress. I think the next thing that you have to do is go outside, man. There's a whole world out there. All you have to do is go outside. Beast, what do you like to do for fun? What do you?
It's like watching flies. Yeah, you're like that. You're like the flies that
What do you like
around.
to? What do you like to do for fun, Beast? What's a typical day for you look like?
You don't like my ass anyway, so what do you care?
I do like you. I told you the last time we spoke that I love you. Beast, I love you, brother.
Yo. You better turn around and back that up. I'm gonna say this once to you. Calm your freaky down, punk.
I said I love you. What's the problem with me?
Calm your freaky down.
Right.
What's the problem with me saying I love you? Why are you being so overly masculine? Men can love other men. There's nothing wrong with it.
Dude, I'm straight Italian. You better watch that because one of the you said it to Italian. It's probably one that said next time shut up or I'll give you a crack.
I know some Italian people. I've told them I love them. They never reacted like this.
Well, watch your step. And as a matter of fact, in about today, I'm going to be making good old fashioned homemade brownies. That's right.
You should make a turkey because that's what you look like, a big old butterball turkey.
And you know what you look like? You look like
Don't say it. Don't say it.
When he goes, what are they, cornrows? And they look like shit locks. Reggie, your hair looks.
What a rumble. Exactly what we needed on this Tuesday. Unbelievable. Home stretch of the show. We started early because I'm doing 2 hours of radio today, 1 to 3, in for Michael on ESPN New York. So looking forward to talking about that giant debacle last night against the Pats. And let me say this about the Patriots. They're obviously really good, and we're envious. And they have Drake May, and they have Mike Vrabel, so they got coach and quarterback figured out. It is remarkable how soft their schedule is. They've won 10 straight. I'll read you the teams they beat in a row. It's literally the Tankathon draft order. Carolina, Buffalo, Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons, Bucks, Jets, Bengals, and Giants. It's like the draft order. Now, there's some good wins in there, right? That win in Buffalo was a big win. The win in Tampa was a big win. They're obviously a good team. For a team that's 11-2, though, I still don't think the Patriots are as good as the record, but they keep winning. And I'd rather be fake great than just bad like the Jets are, but it is annoying. All right, let's get your last remaining calls here. We got some OGs on the line. Sing along, baby.
He thinks that Gorman needs to get a fucking job. This cowboy hates to see as maniacs complain. What they call him, one-punch trigger. You need to get a job. What they call him, one-punch trigger. The beast is on his lap. They call him one-punch trigger. Has anyone seen Dean Mack? They call him one-punch trigger. You'll only need one.
Jake, good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right, Dave. A busy day ahead, so just trying to multitask at a bunch of different things right now.
You're a busy man.
I appreciate it.
I think Gator has to revise that video. I don't like that expletive in there.
You know what? That's actually on me. There's the version I normally play, but StreamYard, we did a lot of rearranging of clips to make things hopefully smoother, and I definitely uploaded like an older version of that. So that's on me, not even Gator.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. It's a snowy day here in Pennsylvania. I'm off of work today, so I'm down in my boiler room trying to get some work done. So if you hear the boiler, don't get scared because it blows off pretty good down here. Isn't that quite something, that three-man love fest? You got JJ, you got the ex-boxer, and of course, Alan, who knows everything about Dante Moore. All right?
Alan knows everything about anything. Just ask him.
I mean, here it comes down. The base argument of quarterback. Listen, what's the bottom line is going to be. Trading up, staying put. Who's going to develop the quarterback? That's our biggest problem here. We've seen it through the years. Now the draft has to be dedicated to offensive weapons. You need the quarterback, but without a great quarterback coach, are we going to see what's happened in the past? Isn't that the main concern? That's my main concern. Who is going to develop this guy? You bring Dante Moore in. This he's raw, and look at that Jackson Dart. This guy, he's not smart. He almost got killed last night. The way they play the quarterbacks today is the problem with the whole game. I mean, there's no development process. It just isn't there. I mean, the way the quarterbacks play the game today out of the pocket. I mean, the number one thing you have to be as a great quarterback is accuracy. Anybody will tell you that. You bring in these guys raw. What are they going to do? And especially with the New York Jets developing a quarterback. Jay, I mean, you know this for a fact. I mean, it's the development aspect. I mean, that's it. I mean, what's your opinion?
Yeah, look, Dave, I think as we've learned in just Jet history, it's much more than just taking the quarterback and then, all is solved. There's going to be such a development process that goes with it. And that's why I think it was important for us to see what this offense could potentially look like with Angstrom calling plays for someone not named Justin Fields. And I think that we're kind of evaluating everything. One thing I would like to see for the Jets, their quarterback coach is a guy named Charles London. He's a former running back who's been a running back coach, and now he's been a quarterback coach for 2 different teams, including the Jets. I don't really know what his qualifications are to be teaching quarterbacks, right? I'd like to see the Jets overhaul the offensive staff, right?
There's no way. You cannot keep this guy. If you bring in a quarterback, you got to bring somebody that knows their stuff. This team is ill prepared in that area. They need the top of the line guy. You draft a quarterback, you're going to give up assets. If you don't give up for a quality quarterback coach, and hopefully Egg Strand knows what he's doing here. I mean, it's not going to work. You're throwing these guys in. Look at that dart. I mean, the guy's scatterbrained. He almost got killed. Did you see that play last night?
Yeah, just he needs. And then what he said after the game is even worse than that play, Dave. He basically said, this isn't soccer. I'm going to get hit. If you watch me in high school, I've always played this way. And it's like, that's kind of the whole point, man. You're in the NFL. You got to take it. You got to adjust. Like, step at. No one's saying you can't be aggressive, but get out of bounds. You don't need to take a hit like that. And that was a totally legal hit.
You see the way this Moore plays? He'd be the same way. You cannot put this guy, you cannot draft this guy and put him in the first year. There's no way. You ruin these guys by doing that. I understand the money part of the game. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well,
you have to do it like Mahomes. That's it. You have to do it like Mahomes.
Yeah, but for every Mahomes, there's, what Stroud did immediately or what Jaden Daniels did. Drake May played most of his rookie year. I agree. If the guy's not ready, you don't play him. But the one thing for the Jets, they should have a good offensive line for whoever the quarterback is next year. They do have some playmakers. If the guy's not ready, you don't play him. I agree. If he is ready, though, then he's going to play at some point. And I would expect a rookie to play a lot of games at some point next year. Maybe not right away. You could bring Tyrod back and a different vet and have your rookie you draft be the number 3 till he's ready. But, these guys usually get in a lot quicker than anyone anticipates. Look at Dart. He was starting by the 4th game this year.
Jake, he's not ready. He's not.
Dart's played well though. Even last night, he's got nothing he's working with. Yeah, they have they have no neighbors. He's played. He entered the game last night with 17 total touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Like he's the least of their problems right now. He's a reason why he's a reason why that job is attractive. If you get the right coach, they could be the Patriots of last year, where they need to get the coach because they already have the quarterback in place. Certain guys are ready quicker than others, and maybe a guy like Mendoza would be ready to play right away because he would have the most starts of any of the guys that are projected to come out. But every quarterback's different, and you don't force a rookie quarterback to play if they're not ready. They played Zach Wilson way too early.
Oh, he just wasn't good. But the Mendoza's, this is his test coming up this week. I mean, he's got accuracy. He's the best of accuracy. He's the best. I mean, listen. You call me antique, whatever you want to. I guess I'm too old school the way the quarterbacks are developed. I just can't see these guys going in this raw. I understand the money for it, but I just think you ruined them. You just ruined them. You just don't give them an opportunity. That's why, yes, Mahomes is a special case, but the guy was able, and he's a guy that absorbs things and he's got talent. I mean, but you just have to, the coaching staff has to work comprehensively, and that's where this team has to work itself out. Glenn has to be an understanding of these things. He's the head man. You bring in the quarterback, you bring in the proper coaches, and then you discern what has to be done with the quarterback and do it appropriately. That's my own opinion. I'm like I say, I'm antiqued in that way. My mindset is the old school because I've seen quarterbacks develop the proper way. This way, the current system doesn't develop them. Sorry, that's the way it is. And it's the biggest problem the NFL has because everything is based solely on the the efficiency of the quarterback. That's the way it is. I mean, unfortunately, and it's all about money.
Again, you're not wrong. In a perfect world, the Jet rookie probably doesn't play right away next year. But I mean, sometimes you just got to treat each situation unique. Like if the Texans didn't play CJ Stroud right away, that would have been a big mistake, or Jaden Daniels last year. So they gotta get the quarterback selection right, and we'll see whoever that is, assuming they go quarterback early. And then who are the options in front of that quarterback, and are they playing well enough to buy the rookie time to sit and develop? That's part of the conversation too.
Well, I guess we'll see. It's we got a long road to April. We just say we're making improvements. That's the greatest thing I see now. Let's win. All these tankers, they're losers. I mean, that's basically what it is. I believe in winning, achieving things. And the coaching staff has a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove. Game by game, we need improvement. Okay. As far as JJ is concerned, he needs to stay off Beast's back. Leave him alone. Saying he loves him, then he cuts him down. Just don't play both sides of the fence, JJ. Okay, go with your 3-man love fest. Okay, Jake. God bless you all.
Hey, Dave Brigger. I just want to ask you a question. Why is it that you defend Beastbreaker when Beastbreaker comes on the show and he insults every single person? But then when somebody...
Because you don't understand them. That's why. You don't
What don't I
understand.
understand about him? He gets on the
Yeah,
show and he
he's
calls
a lonely
people...
guy.
He's a
This guy
lonely
got a lot of
guy?
problems. He's a lonely guy, and he's got a lot of problems, JJ.
What
Just
problems
don't
does he
stay
have?
off his back.
I'm not on
Hey,
his back.
you're on his
Beastbreaker
back.
said first something to me, so then I responded to him. I
Well,
still
don't
love him, but
respond.
just because I love someone doesn't
Don't
mean I can't
respond. You know who
make
you
a joke
love.
or something.
Don't
Why do I have to be the bigger person? Dave Berger, I'm starting to think that you are a mean person because
I'm
you
not
always
mean.
have something mean to say about me, and then you're
I
making
don't have
fun of
mean.
me,
I
Gary,
like
and
you. Hey, you're a
Alan.
good guy. You're a good guy.
And it's not
You
nice,
keep your
Dave
mouth
Berger, and it
shut.
hurts my feelings because I look up to you as my OG
Okay, you play
Jets
both sides
fan,
of the
and it hurts
fence,
my
but
feelings.
you play both sides of the fence. You're not real. You play both. You love me, then you say things. You just do it to everybody. You do it to
I love
everybody.
everyone, but at the same
You
time,
get
you see, look
they
what Beastbreaker says. I love
just
everyone.
leave
I'm a
him
Christian,
alone,
but just
okay?
because I
Leave the
love
guy
someone
alone.
doesn't mean I can't make fun of them and crack a joke. Why do
Leave
you
him
take
alone.
it so serious?
Just keep alone. Get off
It's
his
me
back.
versus Dave Berger versus Beast. You guys, why don't you watch your mouth first, Beast? You watch your mouth first, and Dave Berger, this is who you want to defend. This right here.
I don't
This is
have
what
to
you want to.
defend him.
Why
He
don't you
defends
tell him to go
himself.
get a job? They call him One Punch
Yeah, so
Brigger.
hey,
Tell
what
Beast
about
to
your
get
hope?
a
What
job.
do
They
you do?
call him One Punch Brigger.
This has been some show, man. Wow. Fireworks between Brigga, JJ, Beast. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Super chat for Bino. Pats 355 strength of schedule. Yeah, they've had the easiest schedule in the league. Now, look, they haven't stubbed their toe. You give them credit. The Bills, for example, they lost to the Dolphins in Miami, right? Like, New England should get credit for winning. I just don't think they're as good as your typical 11-2 team. But there's no great team this year, so it sucks that they're very much in the mix to get to a Super Bowl. How could they not be? Dan says, I don't care. I like Dart. Tired of the Mormons and stuff. Give me a confident QB, someone with moxie. Yeah, I'd take Dart in a second. He's got to learn to take better care of himself, though. That's a real thing. And his answer last night when asked about it was terrible. Clearly, the teammates telling Dart to take better care of himself and his coaches, the message is not getting through. Because if he can't play, he's useless, even if he is talented. And that hit he took on the sideline is completely unnecessary. Go out of bounds. That was a legal hit. He was inbounds when the Patriots linebacker leveled him. Anyway, let's get to your last remaining calls here. We got a jersey raffle still to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Clifton time.
Now, the only real problem that I can see for Beastbreaker is like a burgeoning frustration with customer service types. Other than that, he seems to be doing fine.
Well said.
Yeah. Looking at the Patriots, this is why we think they're going to have problems when it comes to the playoffs, right? And teams that are a little bit of a cut above. Young quarterback. I think that some of the free agent signings, they're getting the last bit of good football out of guys that might be on their last gasp when you talk about Moses and you talk about Diggs and stuff like that. So I could see them as a regression candidate next year, especially if they don't hit it out of the park with their draft. It's great to have the quarterback. It's great to have the head coach, and that gives them a leg up. But you see that kind of stuff all the time in the NFL, where you saw it with Washington, right? They had a coach that had gotten to a Super Bowl. They had a young, talented quarterback, and then this year they took a huge step back. So, if that's what you hang your hat on, if you're a Jets fan, is that maybe they're one of those teams that could be a regression candidate for next year. As far as the draft goes, um, I think that there is a real opportunity where we sit now in the middle of the top 10 and maybe, between 20 and 25 to really come away with some players that can really impact us positively. If you think about the fact that we have needs at some non-premium positions, meaning linebacker, safety, um, there might be an opportunity to come away with, a Carnell Tate and a Sonny Styles or an Arvell Reese and, a Denzel Boston. If you want to add a wide receiver or, I think there's a couple of safeties that might be available mid to late first round. Um, th- that's before you even get into the quarterback discussion. Of course, if the quarterback is there and you love the guy and you think that it's worth it to go up and get them, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. The competition to go up and get that quarterback. Um, we have the most assets. That doesn't mean that we need to be held up because we have assets going out into the future. But what these trades have done is given us the flexibility to build our team as this regime sees fit. And that's really all you can ask for. Like for a team that is perpetually frustrated in developing a quarterback and trying to get over the hump and become a perennial playoff team, we've given ourselves a little bit of hope. And if the improvements that Glenn seems to be having in game, and a little bit more physicality from the guys on the defense are seen as improvements, then all the better. That's basically what I had. And to go back to what one of our earlier callers was saying, I think it might have been the guy from Connecticut. I'll take a win over any of those division opponents as kind of our signature win, because I think that would mean a lot to this team to get another divisional win under our belts before we can close out this campaign that has been kind of a wild disappointment. I appreciate your time, Jake.
Yeah, look, they never won a division game with Glenn. Miami beat them earlier in the year. I know Glenn was talking about how they owe him one. They're 5-7. They've been playing better. I think it'd be, not a bad win. There's no such thing as that necessarily when you're the Jets. But obviously, if you could beat Buffalo or New England, those are more of a statement win. Assuming Buffalo, the last game of the year, actually needs that game too. That said, if they lose, the easy cope is better draft pick. And if they win, it's seeing actual improvement. Quick update from Beast. He says, I'm an immortal man, and JJ is a toilet brush. NYC to SRQ writes in, what's going to happen when the Jets actually become good? All these rumbles will be non-existing. I have a funny feeling if the Jets are ever good, there'll still be some Asmaniac rumbles on the show. It just might be with opposing fans who are tuned in. Notice we don't get rated by opposing fans anymore because the Jets are so bad. Fans are just like, let them be bad on their own. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Gill from Cali will close us out before today's raffle. What's up, Jay Gill?
Hey, Jake. What's up, man? Long time, first time, brother.
Hey, Jay Gill. What took so long?
Hey, you know what? I felt like you were covering everything pretty good when I first started watching, so there was really nothing for me to add. But today, I got a vent, man. I saw too many upset people on Twitter last week, and I don't understand the root for the tank crowd. I just don't get it. Like in 2020, that was one thing. We didn't have a good roster. Like we needed help, right? Trevor Lawrence is there, whatever. But
and the
we have a good roster
returning after that year either, which is a big thing.
Right. So we can be all in on the tank that year. But right now, if you look at our offense, 9 of these guys are coming back next year, right? Like we need these guys to be good. Rooting for the tank means that you think one player is going to fix this, but if we go 0-17, clearly we need more than one person. So we got to root for our guys. They're going to be there next year. They need to learn how to win. We need to add a player to an already good team and not root for the tank so that we can hope one guy is the savior. It hasn't worked yet. I mean, it's not going to work. We got to add a new quarterback or a wide receiver to an already good roster. And I think that we're starting to see now what Inkstring can do. We're starting to see what some of these other guys can do. There's no point in rooting for the tank. There's just not. So I just had to vent. It just doesn't make sense to me that people are upset with the win. we got to take what we can get. We're 3-2 in our last 5 games. Hey, go Jets. Go Jets.
Jay Gill, great call. And you're in the
Appreciate
raffle
you.
coming up, man. Appreciate your support.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Love it. Yeah, look, I totally get the tanking people. I'm not going to say you're wrong for feeling that way, but a call like Jay Gill there, I think, is how most fans, I do think, feel. I think the tanking people are just very loud. If it's the last game of the year, I think, okay, I understand. But if we're talking specifically about, the differences of the Trevor Lawrence 2020 year and this, the biggest thing is this coach is not going anywhere. And it's nice to see Banjo have the special teams unit be one of the best, if not the best in the league. You want to find out about Engstrand, who I don't think is going anywhere either. And like the tanking people, you can't have it both ways. There are people who are like, I want them to play well, but still lose. And it's like, it's not possible. Like inevitably, if you're playing good football, you're going to win some games. Like if you're improving the way the Jets have improved, it's going to lead to some wins along the way. And I still don't think this team is going to finish 8-9. Like they're going to lose games and be picking in the top 7, I believe. And again, we don't even know who we're tanking for, which quarterback's coming out, which quarterback the Jets actually like. So there's so much of an unknown. Sit back, watch the games. If they win, great. If they don't, benefit from a higher pick, and we'll figure it out in the offseason. Like if you're going to win games because Allen Lazard is going for 100 yards and 8 catches, I get being like, what does that really do? But if you're going to win games because A.D. Mitchell, or as Beastbreaker refers to him as, AIDS Mitchell, is going to go out there and have 102 yards and 8 catches a week after Mechie scored his second touchdown in 2 straight games with the Jets, and you feel like you got some nice pieces to your receiver room going forward, how could you be mad about that? We're seeing Azaria Thomas make plays. Like, how could you be mad at that? You know? This is all real. So, again, there's still 5 games to go, and I promise you that some of the teams that are in front of the Jets, they're also going to win some more games. Like, people act like the Jets winning. It's like, oh, my God, we moved down to 7. Yeah, but guess what? Some of the teams that are picks 1 through 6 in front of the Jets, they'll win games too. The Jets aren't going to be the only team that wins a game here. That's just not how it goes. So keep that in mind as well.
You play the game to win.
That's right. We're about to play to win a Jets jersey of your choosing. Last chance to get in. Before we do the raffle, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, let's check in with the man that we referred to on this program as the Beast.
You can kiss my big, big ass. Woo! Addie Mitchell's going to be a great, asset for this year. And next year he's going to be around. I say it with no shame. We're not going to tank. I don't want to hear any more of this. Oh, we're going to tank. Oh, we're going to tank. Shut up. Shut up. And tonight, go Knicks. Fuck Boston. We're going to win, and we're going to win big. You know why? Jalen Brunson's back, baby, and he's in the house. So we're going to see this. Can't touch this. You can't touch this. So let me just say this one more time. We're not tanking. We're going to win these next 5. But to the Patriots, okay, sure. You may have got lucky with the fighting off against the Giants. How about come fight us? Come on. You're coming to our house? Come on. Come in our arena. We'll get you a fight. You want to get in a fight? Get your asses in the ring, and we'll put our 5 best up, and you put your 5 best up. And we'll see who the better man is. Because let me just say this, we're bigger, we're better, we're smarter. Sure, we might suck around the edges, but you know what, Pally? You don't got it.
Hey, Beast, could we get an update on the USPS situation? Has your mail arrived today?
The ladies already told me 48 to 72 hours. We're right now everyone's going through right now a mess with delays. And take this picture down, please. I don't want to see any part of it. I do want to make a point that loud and clear that we are going to get Mendoza one way or the other. The other quarterbacks, they look okay, but it's just, Mendoza just stands right out. I mean, the guy's a gold stallion. The kid's got it. Give the kid a chance.
What was your favorite game you saw him play this year?
Well, he did well. He did well in one of the Thanksgiving games. He did spectacular. Let the kid play.
Did he really?
Give him a contract. Give him a chance. The kid has the ability. All you got to do.
What Thanksgiving Day game did he play?
Let me just say this: believe in yourself.
Hey, what Thanksgiving Day game did he play in?
I can't remember it right now because right now.
Who did he play?
Uh-oh. Wait a second. Goodbye. I'm gonna change that number of mine soon enough once I go pay my phone bill. Idiots. But let me just say this. Merry Christmas to all you Jet fans and have a happy New Year. Ho,
ho, big cho.
Man, that Fernando Mendoza performance on Thanksgiving was something. Matt L is in the raffle for 5.
It's up to you, New York.
Gypsy Moonchild, a friend of Black Gypsy, is in the Asmaniac raffle for 1. And with that, it's time to spin the wheel of champions. Beast, let it rip.
Now it's time to spin the wheel of champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Yeah, here we go. Wheel is up on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Music, please. Here we go. Hey, 2 more came in as that raffle intro was playing. Cynthia W., you are in for 1. Thank you, Cynthia. Hope you're doing well. Black Gypsy, the aforementioned Mr. Gypsy, is in for 1 as well. We'll add Gypsy. We'll be ready to roll. This is the last raffle before the 3 weekly prizes this afternoon. We're starting the show a little later with Joe Blewett today. 5 p.m. Eastern's the start time. That's because I got to go do radio from 1 to 3 today on ESPN New York. With that, Big Fella says, Jake, wait. Big Fella, I will wait. Because you are the big fella. Chris says, hope Knicks take out Boston tonight. Go Bills. Chris is a Bills fan watching our show. But we are aligned with the Knicks. Also, this Kyle Clifton versus Bang Mateo internet beef is kind of funny. Kyle Clifton would poke you and kill you. That's how big and strong Kyle Clifton is. Anyway, Big Fella, what am I waiting for? I'm waiting. We're on Big Fella watch right now, folks. That's what we're waiting for. 50 spot from the Big Fella. Hey now, hit it.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is 10 entries for the Big Fella. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Spin it. Big Fella, you're the man. Bang! From the Big Fella. All right. Did Big Fella just cuck everyone at the buzzer here? We're going to find out. Let's spin the wheel. Your winner of a Jets Legends jersey is... Matt L. Matt gifting 5 just before the wheel was spun is able to win today's prize.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Matt L is your winner of a Jets Legends jersey. Matt, congratulations. You tell me which player you want. Namath, Klecko, Martin, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, or Keyshawn Johnson, and we will get it ordered for you this week. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Appreciate the support. We will give you a third show for me today. This afternoon, I'm about to go do 2 hours of radio from 1 to 3. So tune in on ESPN New York. Watch it on the YouTube channel. I'll post a link in the Discord for those of you out there. Again, thank you all for your support. You guys are the best. We'll do our weekly raffle this afternoon in the film review with the great Joe Blewett joining us from JetX. Until then, I leave you all with a clip. Sit back and enjoy something we call around here greatness personified. Go Jets, go.
Oh, my bad, everybody.
There were 2 listeners of mine who called WFAN asking 2 separate hosts if the Jets should take Knoble, and each host was like, they were stumped. They're like, I haven't done enough draft prep. I'm unaware. And they're reciting lines from the show.
John and Seaford, what's up, bud?
A lot of these Jet fans out there want Brock Bowers.
Yes, that is the sexy name surrounding the Jets.
I think the 3 options you go, O-line, receiver, or if Knoble out of college is there, you got to take Knoble. 5'7", 198, plays both sides of the ball. Not sure if you know him. Mel Kiper had him top 15 pick. What are your thoughts on Knoble?
I don't know him that well. I'll be totally honest with you. Bro, I got to do more draft prep. You said he plays both sides of the ball. Makes me think, who plays both sides of the ball in the NFL?
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?